This week, I want to talk about a couple of extraordinary products that are quite expensive, but something that it's unique, it's a small window, and they're just the most fantastic fruit products I think we sell for most of the year. The first one is these loose autumn crisp grapes. The season's about 6 weeks. They're truly a magnificent piece of fruit. They're crunchy, they're sweet, and they're a new variety. They're an American variety, but grown here in Australia. They are pushing all the other old white grapes out. In a couple of years' time, this is what you'll be buying. But at the moment, we are getting ourselves and the export market are getting all this big fruit, which is just fantastic. It's crunchy. It's just such a special grape. It is double the price of the other ones, but my God, we are selling more and more each week. I think it's double the value. These fabulous big autumn crisp grapes are coming from the Robinvale area. There's a family down there named Cordomas. I started buying off their grandfather 52 years ago, and I'm happy to say that we still deal with now the third generation of Cordomas. Fabulous farmers. You'll see these grapes later in the season coming up, because a lot of these grape growers have now bought right up into far north Queensland. It'll take them a couple of years to get everything up and running, but you'll have these grapes from far earlier in the future. Back to value, this week our lemons, now started from Queensland, have halved in price. This happens every year, usually a couple of weeks later. I sort of count on them happening at Easter to go with the fish, but this year the crops have come on a bit earlier. The roads have opened up again, and we've got these magnificent lemons, half the price of last week. This week, we're transitioning out of our old season Hass avocados to these new season fabulous Shepherd avocados. That's Shepherd, S-H-E-P, not Shepherd as in following sheep round. So they're a great avocado. They are what we'll get for the next 6 or 8 weeks. This week, in all the Harris Farm stores, we've helped the Queensland people out by selling some of the we call them imperfect avocados. They've got a blemish on the skin, but to my knowledge, nobody eats the skin. They are funny shapes, funny sizes, and funny marks on them. But my God, converting the price back to each, they come out very, very, very cheap. For the last 6 or 7 weeks, we've gone through that period that we do each year, where the late season mangoes, your Palmers, your Keats, etc., are all there is to buy, and they're pretty ordinary. I often wonder if we should not sell them at all. But then we have a small window of 3 weeks where we have a grower, believe it or not, in Victoria, who grows these magnificent mangoes. We're getting to the end of our KPs and the start of his honey golds. This family, very brave. To plant a mango plantation in Victoria is phenomenal. The interesting thing is these mangoes that flower at exactly the same time as the mangoes in the Northern Territory do. And yet here we are 5 months after the Northern Territory mangoes, and these ones are just now ready to eat. Now what that means is they hang on the tree for an extra 5 months, and it develops the flavour like you wouldn't believe. I took a tray home last weekend the kids and grandkids devour them because they are like when you get those first mangoes in September, it's a real taste treat. So I think by the end of this week we probably won't have any KPs left, but we'll have the honey golds for another 10 days. Don't miss out on these. They're not cheap, they are fantastic value, fantastic flavour, and a good story behind them. They've been hanging on a tree for 9 months instead of 10 weeks. And that's what makes the flavour. Celery's the big story this week. We've seen a very significant fall in the celery price this week. Just the crops have all come at once, and where we were selling it for $5 a week ago, it's now 2 for $5. Celery's fantastic. You can snack on it, you can make soup out of it, you can put it in salads. It's a really versatile, excellent vegetable. And this week, great value.
Perfect.